The price of kindness. I remember that quiet afternoon like it was yesterday. The sky was bright but soft, the kind of day that feels like it's waiting for something important to happen. I was at Golden Ember Restaurant, one of the most expensive places in the city. I was meeting a friend for lunch, but what I saw that day, I can never forget. There was a man who walked in alone. He wore a simple shirt, clean but not flashy. He didn't have jewelry or a shiny phone. He looked quiet, calm, and his face held a deep kind of peace. Nobody paid him much attention. In a place full of suits and designer bags, he looked too plain. He sat at a table near the window and asked for the menu. The waiter that day, a kind young man named Tommy, walked over to serve him. Tommy had just started working at Golden Ember 3 months ago. He was always smiling and full of respect, even when tired. The man ordered the most expensive meal on the menu: roast duck and cranberry sauce, creamy mashed yam, and a special bottle of vintage palm, wine worth more than what some people earn in a month. Tommy looked surprised but wrote down the order without saying a word. As the man ate slowly, I saw people whispering and staring at him. Some were mocking, others curious. "Who eats like that wearing a plain shirt?" Someone laughed. But the man didn't seem to notice. He finished every bite, wiped his mouth, and called Tommy. When Tommy brought the bill, the man said something that shocked everyone. "I don't have money to pay," he said. "You can either let me wash the dishes or call the police." Silence filled the air like a sudden storm. Tommy stood there frozen. You could see the battle in his heart. He looked at his manager's office door, then at the man. Then he took a deep breath, reached into his pocket, and pulled out all the money he had, his savings for transport and lunch. He paid the full bill. He even took a pen and scribbled his number on the napkin. "Sir," he said, "just in case, maybe one day you can pay me back." The man looked at the number, then raised his eyes and asked, "What if I never call you back?" Tommy didn't flinch. He said something that still echoes in my mind. "Then you are not a human being, sir. Because every human being should be moved by kindness." The restaurant was silent. Even the people who had mocked the man earlier now looked ashamed. Tommy turned and began to walk away slowly, his eyes on the ground. But then it happened. The man called out, "Waiter." Tommy turned. The man stood up and walked toward him with steady steps. "Come," he said. "I have something for you." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a folded piece of paper. It was a check. "This is $10,000, he said. "It's not a payback. It's a beginning. You passed a test I give only to strangers, and you passed it well." Everyone gasped. Tommy's mouth opened, but no words came out. He looked at the check, then at the man. His hands were shaking. The man smiled. "My name is Mr. Kelvin 08. I own over 5 companies in this city. I come here sometimes dressed simply just to test hearts. You, young man, have a golden heart." People around began clapping. Some stood in awe. Even the manager came out and apologized to Tommy for how they had treated him in the past. But Mr. Kelvin wasn't done. "You have 5 minutes, he said, "to decide if you want to work for me. I need men like you. Men who serve not just with hands, but with their hearts." Tommy didn't wait 5 minutes. He ran to the back, dropped his apron, and returned with tears in his eyes. "Sir, I'm ready." I followed them outside, pretending to be on a call. I just wanted to know how it would end. Outside, a black car with tinted windows waited. A driver opened the door for Mr. Kelvin. Tommy entered the car with him. As it drove off, I could see him looking back at the restaurant, one last time, like someone saying goodbye to his old life. 1 year passed. I didn't see Tommy again until I went for a business seminar at a big hotel. Guess who was sitting on the stage beside Mr. Kelvin? Tommy, now a company manager, clean suit, bright face. He shared his story with everyone. He told them everything, how he almost didn't pay that bill, how he trusted a stranger, how his whole life changed in one moment. And then he said something powerful. Sometimes you think you're losing money, but you're planting a seed, and one day that seed becomes a forest. I was crying as I clapped, not because I was sad, but because I saw something rare, real kindness rewarded, not by chance, but by destiny. Mr. Kelvin later shared that he had tried this test in over 20 restaurants. Only Tommy passed. The others mocked, ignored, or called the police. From that day, I started believing again in quiet miracles, in secret angels who come to test our hearts. Not all who look poor are truly poor. Some are just watching. Now, Tommy runs 3 branches of Kelvin's food company. He trains staff to treat every customer with respect, rich or poor, loud or silent. I told my children this story and they asked me, "Papa, What would you have done if you were the waiter? I smiled and said, let your heart always answer, not your pocket. This world is not broken. It is just waiting. Waiting for people who give without expecting. Waiting for hearts that still believe in good. Sometimes, the poor man at your table is the door to your future. What you do when no one is watching is what shapes your life. Be kind, not for reward, but because it's right, because that's what makes you human. If you learned something from this story, comment 100% on the comment section. Join our folktale story community. Subscribe to our channel. Turn on the notification bell for more. Like, share with friends and family. See you on our next video.